Hey, I'm Kelly here to do my final book talk. I'm here to talk to you about The Willoughbys by Lewis Lowry, who is one of my favorite authors. It's a parody work on several different children's stories, so even though it's a younger reading level, it's definitely really good to use for older reading levels whenever you're deciphering the differences between satire and parody. That's why I think it would be a really good fit in a young adult literature class to perhaps bridge works like Animal Farm or other allegories. I'm going to start you off with a little bit of an excerpt, which is something I haven't done in my book talks before. It's from the beginning of the story, so before I get too far into the rest of the story, I want to read it now. It is going to have a little bit of a setup. Essentially, since it's an old fashioned story, they find a baby in a basket on their doorstep one day. Now, the parents are actually not very kind parents, just like the kids, even though they're described as having hearts of gold, it's all kind of hidden underneath. The parents are not particularly kind, so whenever the baby shows up on their basket, they decide they want to get rid of it. So, this excerpt will give you a little bit of characterization of the four main children: Tim, Barnaby A, Barnaby B, and Jane, the youngest daughter. Let me start off right here. This is whenever they decide they're going to drop it off at a mansion and they decide to go ahead and leave it with the note that initially was. But then, "Wait, A," said Tim, when his brother began to push open the front gate. "I need to add the note." He held his hand out to Jane, who had placed the folded paper carefully in the pocket of her ruffled frock, and she gave it to him. "Pencil," Tim demanded, and one of the twins, for all the children were accustomed to carrying whatever Tim might need and demand, handed him a pencil. Barnaby B turned so that Tim could use his back for a table. "Could I tell you what I wrote, B?" "Could you tell what I wrote, B?" asked his brother when he had finished. No, it felt like scribbles. "You must train yourself better," Tim pointed out. "If my back had been the table, I would be able to recite each word and also the punctuation. Practice whenever you have a chance." Barnaby B nodded. "You too, A," Tim said, looking at the other twin. "I will," Barnaby A promised. "So will I," offered Jane. "No, you needn't, because you're a girl. You will never be called upon for important work," Tim told her. Jane began to cry a little, but very quietly, so that no one would notice. She vowed, through her quiet little tears, that one day she would prove Tim wrong. "Here's what I wrote," Tim told them, holding up the note. He read it aloud. "P.S. If there is any reward to be had for this beastly baby, it should go to the Willoughbys." The other children nodded. They thought that the P.S. was a good idea. "You might say must instead of should," Barnaby B proposed. "Good idea, B. Turn around." Barnaby B turned, and Tim used his back for a table again, erasing one word and replacing it with the other, which Barnaby B could feel him underline. Then Tim read it aloud. "If there is any word to be had for this beastly baby, it must go to the Willoughbys." He refolded the note and leaned down toward the basket. Then he paused. "Turn again, B," he commanded. After his brother had turned down to make a table of his back one more time, Tim wrote an additional sentence. He folded the note and pinned it to the baby's sweater. "Get the gate, Jane," Tim said, and she pulled it open. "Now 1, 2, 3, hoist!" Together the boys lifted the basket containing the baby from the wagon. They carried it to the sagging, dusting porch of the mansion and left it there. The Willoughbys walked home. "What did you add to the note at the end, Tim?" Barnaby A asked. "Another P.S." "What did it say, Tim?" asked Barnaby B. "It said her name is Ruth." Jane pouted. "Why?" she asked. "Because," Tim said with a sly smile, "we are the ruthless Willoughbys." So that gives you a little bit of characterization of the kids. Essentially, they decide they want to off their parents because orphans have it great, in old-fashioned stories. Parents decide they want to go on a vacation and they don't want to have any kids, so they go on a long vacation, leave them with a nanny because, that's how old-fashioned stories go. After the fact, they decide that they're not such bad kids after all. So, Mary Poppins style, she turns them into pretty good kids. There's a happily ever after whenever their parents die on some mountain somewhere, and the wealthy guy that they left the baby on the doorstep of ends up falling in love with the nanny. They all get together, and somehow his magic orphan appears out of the mountains that the parents died in. It's a complicated story, but it's really funny, and it's a really good piece of parody. So if you ever get a chance, please pick up The Willoughbys by Lois Lowry. Once again, she's a great author. She's done works like The Giver. She's done works like Gift of Magic. She's done several other works that are very well known. Number of the Stars is one of them that was in my curriculum growing up. So I hope you enjoy the book, and I hope you enjoyed the little bit of the excerpt that I got to give you. Bye.